This is an instructional video on using function notation, otherwise known as f parentheses x, also read as f of x. So typically you will be given this symbol, f parentheses x, and you are reading that as f of x. That's how you read that symbol, f of x. You'll see typically a chart labeled the x value, and then there will be an equation in the middle, and then you'll have the f of x symbol here at the end. This is called the frame, and we'll talk about what that means later on once we get to some examples. A piece of important information is to always use the numbers -2, -1, 0, and 1 unless specifically told to use other numbers. Sometimes in specific word problems, they will give you exact numbers to use, but in general, it's always safe to use -2, -1, 0, and 1. So this is what I was talking about when I said you would have the frame of the problem. You have the x value here on the left-hand side. You have the problem in the middle, 5x minus 4, and then you have f of x at the end. F of x is also known as y. It's the y value. It can also be the answer. Okay, it's just the answer to the problem. So the x value is where we're going to use those numbers I gave you, -2, -1, 0, and 1. We are going to take those numbers and we're going to plug them into the x value position. Everything stays in the same order. We're just changing x for our number. So instead of 5x, we're going to do 5 times -2 and then -4 at the end. And we do that with each number, 5 and -1 with -4 at the end, 5 and 0 with -4 at the end, 5 and 1 with -4 at the end. You can type that entire thing into the problem, parentheses included. 5 times -2 minus 4 is going to give us a -14. 5 times -1 minus 4 in the calculator is going to give us -9. 5 times 0 minus 4 is going to give us a -4. And 5 times 1 minus 4 is going to give us a +1. Your answers go in that last right-hand column. Each time you get a frame, it will be blank, and you have to fill in your 4 values, -2, -1, 0, and 1. Fill in the problem for the x value spot. So instead of 3x plus 5, you do 3 in the beginning, one of your numbers, the first one's -2, and then +5 at the end. -3 with your 1 value and +5 at the end. 3 with your 0 value and 5 at the end. 3 with your 1 value and 5 at the end. The f of x column is for your answer. You can type the entire thing in on the calculator, 3 parentheses, -2 parentheses +5, and you would get -1. 3 parentheses, -1 parentheses +5, and you would get a +2. 3 parentheses, 0 parentheses +5 would give you 5. And then 3 parentheses, 1 parentheses +5 is going to give you 8. Type the entire problem in on the calculator. Your answer goes in the last column. Again, another blank frame, so we fill it in with -2, -1, 0, and 1. For this problem, it's simply x minus 7, so we plug in our value, -2 minus 7, -1 minus 7, 0 minus 7, 1 minus 7. You can solve it, you can type it in the calculator, whichever is easier for you. -2 minus 7 is -9, -1 minus 7 is -8, 0 minus 7 is -7, 1 minus 7 is -6. Another blank frame that we fill in with our 4 values, -2, -1, 0, and 1. Now the problem in this frame is written backwards. That's okay. Everything stays in the same order. 6 plus 2x. So we still have the 6 plus 2. The only thing we're changing is the x value at the end. Instead of x, we write our numbers. -2, -1, 0, and 1. You can type the whole problem in on the calculator. You can solve it in your head. You can write out your work, whichever's easiest for you. 2 times -2 is -4, plus 6 is going to give you a +2. 2 times -1 is -2, plus 6 is going to give you a +4. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is going to give you a +6. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 6 is going to give you 8. Now, this problem is a little bit more complicated. I'm going to show you how to read this. This problem reads f of 6, that's how you read parentheses, if f of x, reading the parentheses, equals 4x. That looks complicated. It's really not. It's just a simplified version of those framed problems we did before. You take your number here in the parentheses and you put it in for the x value in the problem. So instead of 4 times x, we're going to do 4 times 6, which is going to give us 24. And that's our answer. Just less work than the framed problems earlier in the video. So again, reading this problem, it's f of 3 if f of x equals 2x plus 4. Again, all we're going to do is going to take this number in the parentheses and plug it in for the x value in the problem. So instead of 2 times x, we're going to do 2 times 3 plus 4. 2 times 3 is going to give us 6. 6 plus 4 is going to give us 10 for our final answer. Reading this problem, we have f of -3 if f of x equals 7x minus 6. Again, take your number in parentheses, plug it into the x value spot. So instead of 7 times x, we're going to do 7 times -3 minus 6. 7 times -3 is -21. -21 minus 6 is -27 for our final answer. The same thing works with fractions. F of 1/2 if f of x equals 4x plus 9. We take the number in the parentheses, plug it into the x value position. Instead of 4 times x, we do 4 times 1/2 plus 9. 4 times 1/2 is going to be 2. 4, half of 4 is 2. 2 plus 9 is going to give us 11.